Welcome to the Inspire to Invest podcast, where we're sharing stories from real estate investors and how investing has changed their lives. This episode of the Inspire to Invest podcast has been brought to you by Francis 5 Properties and Maynada Media. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Inspire to Invest. We have a wonderful guest today named Jacqueline Francis from Francis 5 Properties, and she's going to introduce herself, but I'll give you a little bit of information about her before we get started. So, as mentioned, she's from Francis 5 Properties, and she founded this real estate business with her husband, Leo, based on the principles of love and also leaving a legacy for their lovely children. They are real estate investors focused to helping others build wealth. So, thank you so much for being here, Jackie. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much, Serena, for having me on this amazing podcast.
Awesome. So I know I shared just a very little bit about your background, but maybe you can tell everybody what you were doing before real estate and real estate investing came into your lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working for the Ministry of Children and Youth Services, so definitely corporate job with the government. So that was interesting. Leo at the time was starting out his active business, which is the dump truck company that we currently own. And we were just getting started in this whole world. Well, for him, it was entrepreneurship. It was me just finding my way and figuring out, is being in the government where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And so that's how we originally got started until real estate came into our lives. And we decided to fully be on board with entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and have our active business, but become investors.
So what was the catalyst for that? So obviously you had your businesses going, you had your government job. So what was it that attracted you initially into real estate and got you going?
Yeah, so Leo actually came to me one day and he had heard an ad on the radio when he was driving and said, "Hey, let's go check out this real estate networking event." And we went to it and we were really blown away by the information that we were learning just
Yeah.
about not paying down your mortgage and not, like all the stuff that we learned was phenomenal. We had
Yeah.
never understood these concepts before because we were always taught pay off your mortgage, you have that secure job
Yeah.
and you'll do well in life. But this was totally brand new to us. So that's what piqued our interest. So
Yeah.
we wanted to move forward with it and get a little bit more formal education behind it.
Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't working. So I was then helping Leo run his business, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to learning how to work together and understand, the dynamics of a couple partner relationship.
Yeah.
So the real estate really then helped us to know we wanted our time back because we was putting a lot of time into driving the trucks because as an owner, as you know, you are responsible for all of the things. So even when you have employees, you are the one that oversees all of the repairs, maintenance, just everything to do with the business.
Yeah.
He's spending so much time that he was like, there has to be something better for me to be able to still build a life that I want and have more time to do the things that I love.
Yeah. Now, what kind of projects did you guys get started with back in the beginning?
Originally, we wanted to be passive investors. The business was great. The kids were actually a lot smaller. I have 3 children, and it was just easier to know that we could just run a business passively through real estate.
Yeah.
But that quickly changed, and we wanted to be more active.
Yeah.
And what piqued our interest was multifamily. So we actually committed to making a decision to take real estate seriously and commit to the path that we were meant to go down.
Yeah.
From those decisions, we started looking for ways to get into multifamily and just learning about it because that's where we had to first invest into ourselves before we could just go out and buy anything.
Of course. Now, there's a lot of concepts when it comes to real estate investing. What was it specifically about multifamily that made you feel like that was the right fit for you guys?
Yeah, so we have learned that taking care of 5 doors or 20 doors was much better than dealing with a single family home or 2 single family homes. Because all of those units are in one place. So that means it's like one boiler, one maintenance, that made more sense to us than
Yeah.
going out and buying like 5 single-family homes or condos or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And why not scale now? Because we started to see the trend of people that got into duplexes or purchasing condos eventually moved in the direction of purchasing multifamily.
Yeah.
So it made sense for us.
Yeah. And there's a real estate educator that I saw recently, and the way that he always described it is with a single family home, there's just too many leaks because you've got your mortgage, your utilities, your taxes. And if you only have one tenant or two tenants, if you run into issues with them, and obviously that can happen sometimes, then,
Yeah.
it's a lot more challenging to kind of float that as an investor. And then on the flip side, what I learned later on, I think, if I could go back differently, knowing some of the things I know now, is that it's actually easier to qualify commercially. So for anything more than five
Yes.
doors, you're really looking at, the profitability of that building rather than personally guaranteeing it the same way that you would with a single family home. And, you can only go so far kind of when you are working with traditional financing when it comes to the single family home. So I think that's a natural progression for a lot of real estate investors. Maybe they don't want to start there because they're still getting their feet wet and they're learning how to adapt to those changes and things that come with being a real estate investor or a landlord and things like that. But I think it makes sense that you guys started there. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that, knowing what they know now could go back and be like, I should have just dove right into multifamily, right?
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, you've obviously had a lot of different experiences so far. What would you say are the biggest, like what you're most proud of or what your biggest success is to date?
I think it would be through personal development through real estate and being able to get comfortable being seen, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
because we have to be showing up on Facebook. And well, not that we have to, but we wanted to, because we wanted to allow people to know what we're doing and be able to
hmm,
show people that, we're everyday regular people that have jobs and kids. And if we can do this, like, you can create wealth as well. And if you can
yeah,
watch our journey, I hope that we can inspire you to take, a page out of our book and get started for yourself. You don't need to have lots of money. You don't have to have, like years and years and years of experience. You just have to make a decision,
yeah.
commit, and get started.
Yeah, and I think that's the big misconception with real estate investing. A lot of people are struggling just to buy their own primary residence, let alone building up a real estate portfolio. And I think that was something that became, something that really surprised me is just how many people are really using other people's money to
Yeah.
basically fund these opportunities. And that can obviously take different shapes depending on how you want to structure it. But there are a lot of people that might partner with a money partner and, they find the property, maybe they renovate it, and then they'll be the working partner. So it's really interesting, just those dynamics and, what people do. But that was the whole premise of this podcast. I really want to just show people like, it's everyday people doing these extraordinary things and they just took the risk and made the decision to make a better life and a better future for themselves.
I love that. Exactly. That's exactly how we feel.
Okay, so with that being said, we're just going to have a really short pause just for a word from our sponsors. Introducing Francis 5 Properties.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing great. My name is Leo Francis, and this is
Jacqueline Francis.
Together, we are called LJ Francis from Francis 5 Properties. We are real estate investors, business owners, and entrepreneurs. Some of the real estate investing strategies that we're involved in are multifamily value add. We're involved with vacation rentals. And now we're also doing a small development.
So if you'd like to learn more or get involved with any of our projects, please reach out to us. We would love to share what's going on. Our socials are Facebook at LJ Francis, Instagram at Francis5Properties, LinkedIn at Francis5Properties, or you can email us at francis5properties@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and helping you scale your business.
Take care for now. Bye.
Thanks again for following along with this episode of Inspired to Invest. In addition to real estate, investing, and running my own brand experience agency for 18 years, I also published a book called The Accidental Entrepreneur in October of 2021. This is my story, and it chronicles how I turned tragedy into triumph to embrace my destiny in entrepreneurship. If you're interested in picking up a copy, you can find the link at serenahomesrealtor.com, and you can also find my link tree with all of the retailers in the details below. Thanks again for your support.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Sidoro. As a social media strategist, brand builder, and business consultant, I help real estate investors grow their reach and build their brand. In today's digital age, having an online presence is critical for the success in the real estate industry. If you're looking to grow and elevate your brand, visit www.mainatamedia.com to book your free discovery call. Let's work together and take your brand to new heights.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Inspired to Invest podcast. We have Jacqueline Francis here from Francis 5 Properties, and she's talking about how her and her husband Leo basically made the decision to move into real estate investing a few years ago to create a better future for their family and for their children. And we were talking about successes before the break, but now I kind of wanted to lead into the flip side. So what would you say are some of the biggest obstacles that you have faced so far, and how have you kind of worked through those?
Yeah, so I would say originally we didn't know where to first figure out what we wanted to do. So I would say that we didn't make that a challenge, but I could see how that could have been a challenge. So get clear on what you want, because that is how the things that you want will come to you.
Yeah.
When you make a decision on the path and the direction or whatever strategy that you'd like to work through, then you will start finding the people that will help you to get to where you need to go. So that education piece was so important for us. If we didn't find mentors and education programs to invest into, we would not feel as confident to go out and be able to purchase the multifamilies that we have right now.
Yeah, and I think the community is so important just to learn from or brainstorm and collaborate with and stuff like that, because otherwise it can be very isolating and really intimidating, right? Like you're here doing things on your own, and if you make a mistake, there's can be, very big legal and financial consequences. So I think it's important to surround yourself with the people that have been there, and they can just help you get where you want to go that much faster, right? So it's smart to do that.
They've made the mistake, so we're not reinventing the wheel. We just have to follow the systems already in place.
Yeah.
Do it our way with our style, right?
Yeah, put your twist on it.
Yeah. I love it.
So what's the craziest thing that you've gone through so far? Because I mean, obviously you guys have had like some pretty diverse experiences.
I would say waiting 7 months to get permits on one of our buildings. That was definitely not anticipated.
Yeah.
And because we were following up so much with the city and it still took that long, we were like, wow, I can't believe it. It seemed like it was never going to end.
Yeah.
And we were counting down the days, the months, and then finally it was like the 7-month mark and we got it. So that so far has been one of the craziest things that we've experienced.
Yeah, it's like a real estate baby.
Yes, exactly.
So going through that process, what would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned? And, if you could go back, is there anything you could have maybe done differently to handle that?
No, I don't think there's anything, because that was completely out of our hands.
Yeah.
There was not, we had done all of the pre-work and sent in all of the paperwork and everything, crossed our T's, dotted our I's. So it was nothing on our end.
Yeah.
So what I would just say is that when you are going through a challenge and the unknown is in front of you, you really should be surrounded by people that can help you grow through that.
Yeah.
Remain positive, like remain focused on the end goal, and don't give up the faith and hope that that's going to happen. It's just the timing, and keep your why at the forefront of it all.
Yeah. And that was during the pandemic, right? Like that was really the cause of those delays?
Yes and no. I think it was a bit of the aftermath, because it was last year. It was in 2022, March. That we had applied for the permits and we didn't get them until November 2022.
Yeah, so maybe they're just still backlogged and stuff like that. Yes. But I think that's in itself an important lesson. When I've talked to other investors, they talk about, things that can go over budget or things that can have those delays and stuff like that. So I think for anyone that's starting out, it's just very important to be very, very conservative with your timelines, because that can ultimately have those impacts on your cost and your budget and stuff like that. So if you're running too lean, I think that's where you can run into issues with an investment, because the unexpected will happen, right? So
exactly. So try to you can try to plan your best, but definitely put in contingency plans and have a little bit of extra money around in case there are delays.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, I guess in terms of the portfolio that you're working towards building, what would you say is your freedom number? And that could be, monthly income, the value of your portfolio. Maybe it's a certain amount of time that you want to have with your family every year. Like, what does that look like for you?
I would say being able to have our investments running by themselves passively and us doing minimal work, being able to travel and have be able to check in on our investments
Yeah.
overseas, having a great team in place, and just knowing that we can live comfortably. So when I say comfortably, we're not worrying about money, that everybody around us, from the people that work for us to our families, are taken care of, and we're creating an impact in this world.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's amazing. And obviously you spoke to the education that you received. What do you think is the best advice that you've been given over these last few years?
The best advice. We've gotten a lot of that, like great advice. I would definitely say that it's always coming back to your why. Remembering the reason that you started and having a strong enough why to push you through all of the things, the successes, the challenges, the delays, anything that you feel that isn't sometimes going to help, but that why is so strong that it will carry you through.
Yeah, I mean, it's a foundation, so I can see how it's super important,
Yeah.
pun intended with real estate. Now, I guess in terms of the projects that you're working on right now, are there any opportunities that you wanted to share that could be of interest to any investors that are watching right now?
We always have opportunities. So I would definitely say reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. There are things that are coming across our desk all the time. And if it suits your goals and your needs, then if we can help you build wealth and create wealth, then let's have a chat.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, in terms of inspiring others, are there any particular quotes that you find personally motivate you a lot?
Yeah, so I would definitely say thoughts become things. So the way we think creates the things that we have in our life. So let's always, think good thoughts. Let's think about how we can move forward in life and how we can continue to help others and how great and successful we can be. Because if we have thoughts that are opposite, we're going to bring those into our life. That's not what we want. That's not our purpose as investors and as humans.
Yeah, no, I think that's so smart. I had a mentor once that said, focus on the roots, not the fruits.
Yes. Oh, I love
Take care of
that.
everything that's inside and what you focus on expanding and all of that. And I know sometimes people may not realize just how much mindset really plays into all these things and overcoming those limiting beliefs to really,
Yes.
make the right decisions and put yourself on that path towards, achieving that financial freedom number, whatever that looks like for you.
Exactly. They always say it's 95% mindset and 5% strategy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So obviously you guys have been great at that. And thank you for sharing your story. For anyone that does want to get in touch, what's the best way to reach you?
I would definitely say that reach us on Instagram at Francis 5 Properties. You can also find us on Facebook, LJ Francis, LinkedIn at Francis 5 Properties as well, or our email address, which I'll just allow you to put that in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll include that below. Now, is there
Yes.
anything else that you wanted to leave guests with in closing?
I would say get started. Don't listen to family and friends. The vision was given to you. The idea was placed in your mind. It came across your path for a reason. Get in front of the people that can help you to move forward. Take chances because it's your life and you only have one.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So thank you again for being here today. Of course, for anyone that's watching, we appreciate your time as well. We'll share contact information for Jacqueline and Leo below. And of course, if you like what you've just watched, make sure you subscribe and you're following along at Inspire to Invest podcast on social. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you again to our sponsors, Francis 5 Properties and Maynada Media, for bringing you this episode of Inspire to Invest. The views represented on this podcast are for general information only and does not constitute investment or other professional advice or an offering of securities. The host and guests featured on Inspire to Invest make no representations as to the performance of any particular investment. Should you decide to make an investment, you are responsible for conducting your own review and analysis. It is recommended that you obtain independent legal, accounting, and tax advice from licensed professionals.